let's talk about the dysfunction in Seattle, because it's widespread and it's kind of amazing. And I think this dynasty is over. So what is happening in Seattle? At least from my perspective, this is what I see. Tell me what you see.
Yes.
Let's start with Pete Carroll. I think we're seeing that this guy's done and
Oof.
probably was overrated the whole time. I think what we're seeing from him is he's Jeff Fisher. Remember Jeff Fisher?
Of course I do.
Okay. Jeff Fisher, Tennessee, won a lot of games. And was looked at as a really good head coach, but in retrospect,
Very respected.
In retrospect, it was Steve McNair. He had Steve McNair.
Yeah.
And, the offense that they had over there never really brought the most out of McNair. It was very much hand off to Eddie George and throw to some terrible wide receivers, and we're going to win with defense. And that's how Jeff Fisher built his reputation. Then he went to St. Louis and was a flop. And if Pete Carroll in his non-Russell Wilson years was a total flop, and the fact that he's flopping now with Russell Wilson is bad. So I'm thinking he's looking a lot like Jeff Fisher 2.0, a guy who, I don't know, had a good reputation from college and won a lot with a great quarterback, but wasn't a great coach. So there's that. I mean, also, we just mentioned his offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. From what I heard, I got connections. The Rams were so surprised that the Seahawks wanted him. Like, this guy? Hey, take him. Like, the most replaceable dude in here. So I don't know what intel Pete Carroll thought he had, but you didn't know Shane Waldron. The Rams knew Shane Waldron. They didn't care about Shane Waldron. You signed him. He'd never been a coordinator or called to play, and now you have the worst time of possession in the league. Can't get the ball to DK Metcalf. That's a joke. And they've had a lot of injuries and stuff. I mean, Russell Wilson's missed time. They're down to Adrian Peterson at running back, so that's part of it. But really, that one more thing. They freaking stink at drafting. They really are bad. They used to be good 10 years ago, but all those players are guys that they've, signed, Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, and now they have to replenish with other young players who are cheap and good. They don't have them.
Cheap, yeah.
They don't have them. They have Jamal Adams, who's their first-round pick next year too, who's, he's all right. He's not great. So that's kind of bad drafting, an overrated coach. And let's talk about Russell Wilson. Yeah, he's got a broken finger, and that's hurting him, but he was struggling going back to the second half of last year. It seems like, one, he's not nearly as athletic as he used to be. He's kind of slowed down a little bit. And two, I think the league is kind of caught up to his style of play. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has struggled with this as well. Josh Allen. Defenses are like, you know what? 2 safeties high, no big plays. Forget that. Check it down, Russell. And he won't. And it seems like teams have actually finally caught it. This has been going on since last year. So that's went on for 5 minutes, but that's a lot of stuff that's going on with the Seahawks. I think they got to blow it up.
It's a lot of dysfunction, and I love hearing it. So that was all music to my ears, Grant. I could listen to that for 15 more minutes if you got anything. Like, that's just glorious. I agree with Wilson, and Jason Aponte was saying on my show earlier this week that he sort of has this refusal not to throw the deep ball. And I had to credit him. That guy throws one of the prettiest deep balls I've seen. So I don't blame him for wanting to put that on national television every chance that he gets. It's so catchable. But you're right. Defenses have absolutely adjusted to this big shot play offense. They're now taking that away. And that's
Mahomes
what the NFL
having the same
does.
issue with Kansas City, right?
Right.
It's a whole talking point in the league.
Yes. Yeah. It is the too high, take away that big play and force them to play a style that they're not used to. Force them out of their comfort zone. And for a couple of teams, they've been unable to respond. Seattle seems to be chief among those as to ones that haven't. To your point on Shane Waldron, he's clearly not put it together for that Seattle offense. They had 5 straight 3-and-outs in the performance last week. I mean, 5 straight 3-and-outs against the Washington football team. That is a brutal offense. 12 carries for 34 yards. And Pete Carroll, you got to love him. He said, well, I don't want to use the excuse of missing Chris Carson, but we're missing Chris Carson. It was like, I don't want to leave that as the excuse, but that's our excuse.
But I'm using the injury excuse.
Yeah, 100%.
Bob Money says he can't throw that deep ball because their finger, and he doesn't want to be in Seattle anymore. Yeah, that's the one more thing. He requested a trade or said he wouldn't be against a trade.
He
and
wanted out.
Teams I'd like to go to. He did that, right? He basically said, this offensive line is trash. It's shortening my career. And here are 4 teams I wouldn't be opposed to going to. So it does seem like he doesn't even want to be there anymore.
Yeah, he laid out, me and Rihanna are a power couple. These are the cities we would like to reside in.
Not
Seattle.
Rihanna,
Ciara. I get my stuff mixed up. I'm not hip.
Their songs are totally different.
They absolutely want to be in New York, LA, the power markets.
Chicago, New Orleans, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. So it seems like no one either wants to be, or whoever's there this year is not going to be there next year. And everyone kind of feels it. And what's the other? They're 3-8. That's pretty dysfunctional. 3-8.
3 losses in a row to match our 3-game win streak. Wilson, in his return, 54 of 106. 51% completion percentage over the last 3 games.
He does have a messed up finger, and you'll see he will miss throws that he used to nail.
That's what I want to ask is do you think, because this is my take, that Russell Wilson will have a bounce back game at some point. It seems inevitable that he will get right at some point this season. He's just too good not to. Yeah. My fear is that he'll be motivated to have that game against the 49ers.
And his finger will be a little bit better than last week. I don't know. Yeah, it could be. At some point, the finger should be. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's too good, even if he's apathetic, even if he doesn't want to be there, even if his finger's messed up, even if he's a little bit older. Still Russell Wilson, man. And I've only seen him beat the Niners, I guess, 4 times. I don't even remember the 4th time. I mean, he won in Candlestick a couple of times. He lost in Candlestick a couple of times. I'm trying to say anyway. It's like I got to see it to believe it, I guess. I got to see it to believe it. Yeah.
Yes. I need the Niners to be up by multiple scores by the 4th quarter so that I'm not in the stands fretting.